Awesome. Welcome everybody to this Quick Start Basics tonight, the 10 Core Commitments. I am Bess McCarty, and introducing Jeffrey David Gamble and me. We're super excited to be here with you and to share this with you to help you to succeed. Our goal is to equip and empower and entertain and educate you on the basics of building your business, to teach you how to build a strong and profitable business. Before we get started and before we do any introductions, grab a pen and paper so we can let you know what's coming up this week. Weekdays, noon Eastern Time, Monday through Friday, is the MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show, becoming a really increasingly popular class. People are popping on, setting their alarms for it, and we teach. We were just talking about John Maxwell a minute ago before the recording turned on. So we teach one of the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership from John's book, one every day for about 30 minutes. So it's a nice little lunchtime bite to have your lunch and to digest some good personal growth work. And people are bringing their friends. You're invited to bring your friends, your team. This is free and open to the public, so it's just a lovely gift to the profession that we're giving. Now on Tuesdays, on Facebook Live, every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, we teach one aspect of network marketing, and it's actually derived from this class that you're in tonight. So it is a perfect place, again, to invite friends or even a team member. If they're thinking of joining, they can sit in on that and kind of get to know Jeff and me. On Wednesday nights is our MLM Leadership University. There is a select group of our students who are in that, and Becky is one of them, and Jim is one of them. And this is a kind of an inner circle group where we take one of John Maxwell's books a month. And this month it is the Developing the Leader Within You 2.0, if you can see this, okay. It's an incredible book. It is incredible. I believe to date it's his latest book out, and it is he goes into so many details you wouldn't even think of. In his 40 years, I think he's put his 40 years into this latest book especially. So many details that aspects of leadership and running a business. So in network marketing, I'm not in a company, I'm just a dedicated generic coach, but in network marketing, you retail a product or service, you train people to do that, and then you lead. That would be the third advanced level to get the big teams and their big residual income. So that's what this class is about. Congratulations to the members who are in that. And if you would like more info about it, just message me or go to our Facebook group, the MLM Millionaire Club, and there's a link in there where you can learn more about it. Of course, tonight, the Sunday night basics classes is every Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. It's always recorded. At 90 minutes in, we're going to turn off the recording and have open coaching. We're going to ask you what you liked best about the class tonight and see if you have any questions or any insights or comments that you'd like to share too. Just in a week away is Jeff and Brandy's Indianapolis event, Launch Free Enterprise Summit, and this is financial language and mindset, the mindset of a business owner. That is January 25th to 27th in Indianapolis, and it is going to be awesome, I can tell you. The last one people went to had a lot of breakthroughs, including me. It was just tremendous. So we invite you to that. Sorry about that. We invite you to that. Even people came in from states around that lived a state or two away. So if you're near there, that would be wonderful. Love to meet you there. So our purpose is to help people grow, to educate, equip, and empower entrepreneurs and raise the bar in this profession. If you don't know, Jeff has personally recruited over 500 people frontline in network marketing, built 2 teams of over 5,000. His teams have produced over 10 million sales. He has helped so many people to change their lives and build their businesses, and he's also refined the way how to do this. That's why We teach the 10 core commitments, but he also brings his experience and his spin to these, and he's a very good person to listen to. I was in network marketing also for years full-time, helped me raise my son as a single mom. When my company went out of business, I became a body-mind therapist, work on my own personal growth and help other people. Then I came back to network marketing because I love you guys. You're my heroes. I was one. I know what it's like, how you face yourself. So I love helping network marketers overcome fears and negative beliefs, and also learning the skills of communicating. I just love communicating. We met, Jeff and I met 4 years ago on Eric Worre's page, but it was this year that we realized, hey, we're going to be teaching together. We're a good fit in a whole lot of ways, and I really appreciate you, Jeff and Brandy, for partnering to help people like we do. I'm grateful every day for this beautiful partnership. This generic training is compatible with your company. If you find anything that's different, follow your company. If they're doing good, if it's right and ethical. This is for all levels of network marketers, starting, advanced. We have all types of people in here. People who are really clicking along, people who are just stuck, but now they're breaking through and they're making momentum faster, more than they ever have before. So whatever level you're on, I congratulate you. Whoever's taking a step, whether it's a small one or an advanced one or a big one, it's important to us. This helps you to build a team, lay a good foundation for yourself, and to teach this to your team. So take good notes, absorb this in, and take this back to your team. You'll become an excellent trainer this way. The 10 core commitments are getting started right, be here a year from now, which is about commitment. 3, personal development. 4, market daily. 5, present daily. And we're going to be recapping those tonight before we go on next week and teach number 6, a week 10 to weekly presentation. Number 7, attend a weekly core training, which you're on right now. And number 8, attend a monthly regional. Number 9, attend all company conventions. And number 10, have a monthly action plan. So you can see that this covers all the mindset and all the skills needed in network marketing. Those are the 2 things you need. Tony Robbins says, Mother is the repetition of all skills. So every week we dive deeper into these. You're always going to hear new information, but the same basic principles, just from different angles, so that you can learn this and integrate this over time. When you have completed all 10 of the 10 core, or their replays, if you miss one, message me, because we have a first level certification for people who've completed the first 10, and some of the people on here, including Jim and Becky, have. I think Pasha also has, yes. When you've completed the second round, let us know, because then we have a second certificate for you. And there's a total of 4 certificates in all, representing a year of training. But people stay on here for years. People have been in this school, some of them for 8 years, because they get results and they apply it in their business and their life. So everything you hear is going to take you to a deeper layer. And I think we're ready to turn it over to Jeff here to have a recap of the first 5 of the 10 core.
Okay, guys, can you hear me? So what we're going to do is go through some basics. And the basics really never change. In fact, I've sat down with people from multiple different companies. I've been in a few different companies. I was privileged to actually one of the first trainers who actually just passed away approximately a week ago, built one of the largest teams inside of network marketing that I've known, a team that existed of a few million people around the world. He was in the business for over 50 years, started in 1964, built throughout the 60s, 70s, 80s, retired in late 90s. was still ranked and still ranked right now as one of the #1 earners of all time in the industry, in excess of $450 million in commissions, which honestly is more than most companies ever do in a single year. This guy's made personally, him and his wife. His kids got involved in the business, and even his grandkids continue to build. And continue to build today. I actually read an article just recently that 2 of his sons kind of run, different parts of his business. He was ranked in Success Magazine as a billionaire, took a lot of the money and spun off and owned hotels and owned restaurants and owned resorts and owned construction companies and building companies. He was so mad at the banking system, he started his own bank. Which is kind of interesting. He went to the resort one time, and he's like, yeah, I want to get something to eat. They're like, the restaurant's closed. He's like, well, open it up. And they said, well, who are you? He's like, the owner. So he was kind of an interesting guy. I can't say that he was, perfect in any way, but he did have an interesting philosophy about building a successful business, and that's where, some of this came from. The other gentleman that some of this information was kind of compiled from was another guy who built an organization of 1 million+ people across the world. Had a group just in Europe of over 1 million distributors that still exists today, even though he left that organization 30 years ago. From that point, he was able to build, a new company that's crossed $1 billion in overall sales. That's going really well, United States, a lot of Europe, in Asia. So that's where the information came from. This wasn't made up by me, but I also got trained outside of the industry of network marketing. And what I started finding is there was a lot of similarities in what's going on. So I just started compiling some of this information together, the information that made sense. And what ended up happening to me is I actually left the industry, and people kept coming to me and asking me, hey, you recruited all those people frontline. How did you do that? And I started teaching people for free. It wasn't a charge or anything like that. I just started teaching people for free how this worked. And what I found is people who were serious started taking that advice, and they started succeeding. From there, people started asking me, well, now I've got a couple people on my team. How did you get people to actually do something? And then we talked about, the different skills that it took to actually get them rolling. And eventually these 10 things, these 10 topics came up every single time. And I said, this is really the 10 things. A lot of people I've found don't really know where they're going in their business. They know what they're doing to get somebody in, but they don't know really where they're trying to put people and what the overall objective is, other than go get somebody else. And if that's all the objective is go get somebody else, what eventually happens is somebody comes along who really knows what to do, and they'll end up taking your team. I don't know if you've had the privilege of building big enough where you've lost someone. Someone is a rough thing to do, especially when it's a friend or coworker or somebody you've recruited. It's even more difficult when you lose, an organization of people, an entire leg of your business. My friend kind of pat me on the shoulder. He's like, don't worry. He's like, wait till you start losing ring earners. Ring earners come and go. And then, the guy that taught, most of this to us, he's like, it's one thing to lose a ring earner. He goes, imagine losing $1 million leg. He goes, that's a whole nother experience. So different devil at different level is how it's said. But there are certain things that I found that have worked at every single company that I've seen exist. They've worked with every product, every compensation plan that's out there. But I'll also say anything that we're going to teach here that conflicts with your current company and your current upline or whoever's teaching you, obviously, go with your company, go with your upline. I'm not going to be at your house on Tuesday night, helping you build necessarily. Yes, Beth and I both coach outside of what we do full time, outside of my company, because I am a network marketer. I come on here just to teach generic things, and basically my rule of thumb is this is a no recruiting zone. Your goal isn't to come into this generic school to try to recruit the people who are here. It's basically try to learn and take it back to wherever you're at. So I'm hoping that everybody's happy in where they're at and what they're doing. And we just want to provide you with the skills to do this. Because here's what I found is people get in and people hear a lot of stuff. And what I mean by a lot of stuff is you can go online and look for how to recruit, and there's 600,000 different ways to recruit. Every leader gets up and says it a little bit differently. And I started hearing a lot of stuff with like, just be yourself, just be honest, just be excited. And my thing is based on the 4 personalities, that's actually terrible advice. And the reason it's terrible advice from a psychology point of view is if you're telling people to just be themselves and they're not really a good person, they're not a people person, they're not aware of what's going on, they're going to struggle horribly and they're going to quit. They're not only going to give, it's not only gives them a bad taste in their mouth, but the average person who leaves the industry goes out and tells 10 other people that it's awful. So you're not doing any justice to your own team, and you're certainly not doing any justice to the industry by just telling people to go out and work hard. So I'm just going to share with you guys some stuff, and hopefully it makes sense. And I want to get into the training, and I know this was awful long start to get into these things, but I want to get this mindset stuff first. There's 3 mindsets inside of network marketing that you have to get through. The first one is the poser mindset, which is basically the lottery mentality. People get in and they think they're only going to have to find 2 people, 3 people, or 4 people, and this is just going to work out for them. They treat the business literally like a lottery ticket where they write down 6 names and there's 6 faces in their mind, and they scratch off each one, and if those 6 people don't get in, they quit. I've seen it. Leaders have seen it. I've gone to different companies. I've seen this in different languages, in different cultures, and people are like, yeah, that's exactly what happens in Vietnam. That's exactly what happens in South America. That's exactly what happens in Korea. That's exactly what happens in Japan. I've seen it in Germany. I've seen it, in parts of South and Central America. So that's just the way it is. The poser mentality. The second mentality is the amateurs. The amateurs think that there's one secret thing that they can do that will make this work. There has to be one secret tool or one secret video that you're not telling them or that they haven't been told, and you seek for this one special thing to figure out how to do it. And unfortunately, there's more to it than that. As John Maxwell said, when people come up to him and say, John, what's the one thing? What's the one thing about leadership that is the most important thing, the only thing I really need to know about leadership? What's the most important? What's the one thing that I'm missing? He said, well, the one thing is there's more than one thing. And no, that's not the answer 99.9% of people want. But the third is really the professionals. That's actually realistic expectations and realistic standards for building a business. There's more to it than one thing. There's more to it than 6 people. If you want to build, watch this. If you want to build, and we're going to talk about building an income to 6 figures. Building an income to 6 figures. Not making $500, not making $300, not making $1,000 every once in a while, but we're talking about creating an ongoing income that comes in. Whether that be $1,000, a week, or $1,000, every couple days, or $1,000 a day. I've had days that have been over $3,000 inside of direct sales. I've had days that are 500, 800, 200. But here's the thing. When I first got started, I just posted this. My first check inside of network marketing, just to let you guys know that I did not figure this out in a day, it was $9.80. It was $9.80, and it was approximately 5 months into my business. 5 months of talking to people, 5 months of sharing an opportunity with people, 5 months of going to meetings every single week, 5 months of actually showing up to the event. I actually went to a convention first and spent $1,000 to get there, in total, there and back, and $1,000 while I was there. It was a $2,000 kind of weekend. I came back, I made $9.80, but it was the best $9.80 I've ever made. Inside of direct sales, because it just taught me that it's going to work. If I can make $9.80, I can teach other people how to make $9.80, and when that happened, my check started going up. So the next thing that you want to do is there's 3 ways to look at this. There's 3 ways to think about this. Number 1 is you have to start thinking like a business owner. And the easiest way I can say to start thinking like a business owner. An owner is the buck stops here. You are 100% responsible for the outcome. If you don't know something, it is your job to go figure it out. If you don't understand how something works, if you're not connecting the dots, it is your job to start asking questions and seeking out the answer to these questions. Why is this not working? Now, if you're not doing anything, obviously the answer is you're not doing anything. But if you are contacting, if you are inviting, if you are doing the work, like if you're getting people through the process that we're going to talk about and it's just not working for you, you need to get on the phone with somebody and say, there's something I'm not saying, or there's something that I'm saying, or there's an order of which I have this out of order. Something's wrong. My deodorant, the way I comb my hair, the clothes, I mean, like something's not working here. What is it? And you want to seek those answers out. The second thing about how you think about this mindset stuff is you need to think like a networker. And a networker doesn't think of what works. A networker thinks, how do I make this simple and easy and duplicatable? How do I make this simple and easy and duplicatable? How do I remove the sales part of it from it? And how do I get the result we're looking for? And here's the result that I was always looking for is education and a positive experience. I want people to learn how to educate people and have a positive experience along with doing it. You know, what if there was a way where you're not getting a ton of rejection? What if there was a way where you weren't getting a ton of questions? What if there was a way where you didn't have to watch this? Everybody says, well, you just need to be excited and get it out there. Do you honestly know that, like, if you cut up the personality chart, most people are not the excitable people. So telling 80% of the people who in generally are not excitable people just to be excited and go do it, you're alienating and basically teaching that 80% of the people that are on your team aren't going to go out and do it. So there has to be maybe another way to do it, because obviously, you know, we duplicate all kinds of things. And, you know, we duplicate teachers, and we duplicate truck drivers, and we duplicate cashiers, and we duplicate retail people. We even duplicate doctors. We duplicate neurosurgeons. We duplicate, you know, IP attorneys, intellectual property attorneys. If we can duplicate all that, I'm pretty sure we can duplicate a network marketer. It's not that difficult. But I sat down and kind of thought this out, and I started looking at what people were saying, the trainers out in the market. I was looking at what they were saying, and then I was looking at what they were doing, and I was finding a lot of incongruent, conflicting things they would say and do. So I just tried to basically break this apart and say, let's try to get this in order where it's congruent, because I don't know about you, I was one of those people who always asked why. I always questioned authority, and if something didn't make sense, I couldn't move forward, or I would do the opposite. And I think a lot of people out there, you know, there's a group of us that'll do that and mess up the program. 3, think like a leader. That's the last thought. So you want to think like a business owner. You want to think like a networker, and you also want to think like a leader. Now, what does a leader think like? Well, that's the 21 laws of leadership. You want to start thinking the law of the lid and the law of navigation. You want to start thinking about the law of respect. All of those laws comprise into you becoming a better networker. In the beginning, do you need to know how to be a leader? No. But you want to start developing that as soon as possible, so that way when you have a team, you know what to do. You don't want to get a team like I did. I got a team just by working really hard, and then I had all these people, and then I went, now what? I was never in the military. I was never in sports. I was never in a big organization. So when I got a team of a couple hundred people, I was lost. I was actually more scared then than when I didn't have anybody and I didn't have any money, because I started making great money, and then I was like, all this is going to disappear if I don't figure this out. I mean, I knew that instinctively. So there's a couple things you have to get right. You have to realize the way that you do everything now is based on the programming you got a long time ago. They say from 0 to 7, your subconscious mind is developed. Your subconscious mind kind of runs everything. Your subconscious mind makes all these decisions for you. Whether you're positive or negative has a lot to do with your subconscious mind. And then you're going to start building basically your logic From somewhere between 7 and 14, your logic kicks in. You know, your ability to regurgitate, repeat, look at something, ask questions, figure stuff out, just the basics of how life works. Logically, this goes with this, that goes with that. I can put the dishes away. I can make my bed. I can go to school. I kind of understand. But you're going to ask a lot of questions. That's why, you know, you're eventually going to hit that next stage where you develop your emotional kind of, you know, your relationships and how you kind of view the world. Your philosophy of how you do everything is then developed from about 14 to about 21. And that's when the teenager comes out, the emotion explodes, and you start figuring out how your emotional intelligence works with other people. That's your programming. You know, your family, who you hung out with, the people in your life, the school you went to, the friends you have had a lot to do with those 3 stages. But here's the thing, you can change all that. You can change all that with some different programming. Your programming creates your philosophy. Your philosophy creates your identity, and this is some of the stuff I'm going to go into at our event. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail here, but programming leads to your philosophy. Your philosophy leads to the identity you have. Now watch this. Most people have the identity of what? Most people have the identity of an employee. Why? Because their family told them they were going to be an employee. Their school told them they're going to be an employee. College told them they were going to be an employee. Their boss told them they're always going to be an employee. And then all of a sudden we come along in network marketing and tell them to be a business owner. And they have no idea what that identity looks like. But we're telling them to just treat it like a business. They have no idea what you're talking about. Treat it like a business. Your identity has a lot to do with how you think. Because if you think like an employee, your thinking is that of an employee. If you think like a business owner and you're around business owners can actually say, no, we look at this like this differently. That leads to your attitude, how you feel about what's going on, which leads to your action. So when people say, well, what do I do? If you don't straighten out the top half, the bottom half doesn't work out. The bottom half is your actions lead into your habits. What you do on a consistent basis will lead into habits. Habits lead into results. Results will lead into the lifestyle that you start living, and your lifestyle will leave a legacy for other people. In network marketing, you want to have results, but then you also want to be able to transfer what we're talking about here. So this is just kind of a list that we go through, some of the stuff that I teach of. If you can break this stuff down and you start understanding how to reprogram, how to reset things, it's amazing what actually happens. You know, with people who kind of come in, they're able to learn much, much faster when they see where they're headed. So how do you change your programming? Your programming and your philosophy is basically the ideas of what you listen to, what you watch, what you read, and who you hang out with. One of the best guys that describes this is John Maxwell. John Maxwell basically breaks it down. Jim Rohn says it best. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if you're spending time around employees, you're going to always think, act, believe, and get the results of an employee. But if you hang around 5 business owners, I would say you need to start picking out who you want to kind of be around and who you want to learn from. So there's a bunch of other stuff here that I'm going to kind of breeze through, and I'm going to skip to these 5 things because this is a recap. The first thing is just getting started right. Now, when I try to get people started, a lot of people go through this process that is unnecessary. And what I mean by unnecessary is we're talking about the difference between somebody who's brand new and somebody who's already bought in. Here's the difference. Somebody who has no experience in network marketing, they've never seen network marketing, they've never done network marketing, they've never done any business. And the very first thing we set them down and do is like, well, we need to do a dream session. We need to find out what you want a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. Do you know how freaking weird that is? To think about from the employee mindset that they've been brought up, the school mindset that they've been brought up in. All of a sudden you're like, we need to sit down and find out what you want a year from now. And they are literally going, what the hell does this have to do with, what does this have to do with me, like, learning the business? Like, that doesn't make any, there's no connect the dots yet. Here's why there's no connect the dots. Because they don't even believe in a lot of cases this is going to work for them. And instead of teaching them some basics on how to do, we're teaching them how to dream build and goal set and all this stuff that's watch this, unnecessary to a newbie. A beginner, different. Here's what I was taught. Why not give them a goal right off the bat and say, look, you're brand new. The goal is to get in, to get active, and get promoted. That's the first thing. That's what we teach first. Get in, get active, get promoted. It actually is something that I learned from a friend of mine from the military. He actually was a Navy guy first. And when I mean by a Navy guy, he joined the Navy, went into the Navy, became a medic, and for whatever reason, there was a unit that transferred and blah, 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 blah. He ended up having to go to the Marines because of his speciality. That's who he started working with. So he kind of, started in the Navy. He became a Marine, and then ran around with those guys for a while. And, there's a saying, and I'm not military, but he was, and a lot of my friends were, is basically, you're going to watch me do it, you're going to do it, and then we're going to teach somebody else to do it, those 3 steps. And that's kind of where this comes from, is he said, look, you want to be able to get people in, you want to get them active, show them how to be active in the system, turn on, order, because if nobody's ordering the product, there is no business. Get in, get active, and then how do we get promoted? That's the first goal. That's what we want to teach. Before we sit down and do a dream session, before we sit down and do anything else, I just want to prove to you that this works. I want to show you how to get paid, which is very similar to a job, an employee, a career. Hey, let me show you how to show up to work. Here's when to show up. Here's what we're going to do the first week. And at the end of the week, you get a paycheck. That's how people think. So it's not a bad thing to get them moving right away, because they paid some money. Hey, you paid some money to do this, right? You've paid some money down, you've ordered a product, right? Yeah. So do you want to get it back? That's a great question. You want to get it back? Yeah. You want to get paid to do this? Yes. Okay. Here's the steps. Now, I messed this up for a long time. This was one step that I didn't get. I got a lot of people in, didn't know how to get them started. When my friend broke this down to me, he said, the number one thing is people are at the height of excitement, but also the height of ignorance. So you want to help them get promoted as fast as possible. That's your goal. How do you do that? You make a list of approximately 10 people and say, look, all we're going to do is we're going to educate 10 people on who we are and what we do. The reason for the education is there's 3 outcomes. If we educate people about what we do, there's 3 outcomes of that education. Number 1 outcome, and how we're going to approach this, is we want a referral. We want a referral. I want to teach 10 people what I do, how it works, and my number 1 goal right off the bat is, the outcome is they can refer me business. Now think about this. If you send somebody to a website that they do not watch, can they refer you? No. If you send somebody a brochure that they do not read, can they refer you? No. If you don't tell them exactly, if it's not explained to them exactly who you are, what you do, and how it works, can they refer you? No. Just by name, they're not going to figure it out for themselves. And here's the statistic. About 80% of people never watch the information. It's roughly 80% of people, especially now. There's Netflix and Amazon Prime and Hulu and their favorite TV show and their kids and YouTube, and they're getting Facebook messages and YouTube messages, and you're getting notifications on your phone for Snapchat and Instagram and all these different things. And you're like, go watch this 4-minute video. Go watch this 10-minute video. Every company has a different version of this. And here's the thing. I'm not saying the video doesn't have value. But what I've learned is I teach people how to basically give a 5 to 10 minute overview of who they are and what it's about. So that way, they have the ability to refer you, number 1. The second level, best case scenario is, you can create a customer just like that. At the end of the conversation, a customer. Just like that. The third highest level is you'll end up with a recruit. Number 1, referral. Number 2, customer. Number 3, recruit. Now, here's what's interesting. There are 3 levels of recruits, but we'll talk about that here in a minute. What's easy to do is also easy not to do. Your strength is your weakness. So the strength is yes, the video is simple and easy, but the weakness is if somebody doesn't watch it and then you start following up, did you watch my video? No. Did you watch my video? No. Did you watch my video? No. And then you get people who start chasing people. I'll just be real honest, I hated that. And what I finally realized is I started thinking about this. I was like, in any other profession, would that work? In real estate, would it work if I sent you a 3-minute video on, you know, houses around the area and I said, look, I'm new, I don't know anything? Would you ever use me as a professional? Remember, we're not just trying to sell a product. I mean, in the end, we want people on our team. We want to recruit people. We want to build a business. What I see is there's sales, but a higher level of sales is recruiting. You're not asking people to buy, you're asking people to join. Not just join anywhere, but you're asking people to join you. And people like doing business with people they know, like, and trust. But here's a higher level. People want to join somebody who's clear, concise, and confident. Which is why I think it's best if an expert explains what's going on. I do. But I want to get that person in a position where I can show them how to present in about 10 minutes. My rule of thumb is if I can't show you everything, I show you nothing. Because I'm not here. I mean, I literally almost want to punch people when they're like, you just need to pique their interest. Pique their interest. So what you want to do is you want to confuse them with maybe 13 different things, and then they have no idea, no clarity. They have no concise thing. What I found is the people who consistently recruit, not once in a while, but consistently recruit, and I'm not talking about when a company's new and exciting and it's just growing. I'm talking about consistently recruiting for years, is they have something where they're describing the company. 3 things about the company. Hey, there's a new company that just started. It's this old. It started with this guy. There's a need in the marketplace. I'm just going to use weight loss because weight loss is half the industry. The need in the marketplace is that 60% of people are overweight, 30% of people are obese. Did you know that under the age of 13, 30% of American children under the age of 13 are obese? That's a problem. Guys, they're starting to have more and more issues younger and younger. I mean, can you imagine by 30, you know, having triple bypasses, by 30 having diabetes, by 30 having, you know, high blood pressure and all these things, and they're on 13 medications? That's a problem. Have you noticed? Here's the thing. Have you noticed that too? Yes. Then we talk about the product itself. What I wanted to do is, and it all has to do with the contact up front, do me a favor. I want to share with you basically what I'm doing outside of my business. I want to share with you what I'm doing outside of my full-time job. I want to share with you what I'm doing outside of my, you know, stay-at-home. If you're a stay-at-home mom, stay-at-home dad. I want to share with you what I'm doing outside of my normal career. So if you run into the right person, you can refer them to me. What I found is 99.9% of the time, you always get, okay, what are you doing? Here's what I don't get. I don't get, oh my gosh, is this one of those pyramid things? Oh my gosh, is this another one of those networking product sale things? See, as soon as people think that that's what it is, the credibility of your product goes down, 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 down. I don't care who thought of it. I don't care who registered it, who approved it, who guaranteed your product, what scientist, what group of people, as soon as people start connecting the dots that it's network marketing, and that's how you're pitching it, oh, I've got this great opportunity, I've got this great home-based business. Why would you want to use words that create objections right off the bat? Why would you do that? If there was another way. And what I found is most people just never learn another way. But when I realized the end objective was letting people know what I do so they can refer me, when I learned this technique, I actually learned it through real estate, is, you know, hey, do me a favor. Do you have someone that you refer real estate business to, somebody who buys, somebody who sells, an investor? Do you have somebody that you refer to if somebody asks you, you know, if they're thinking about selling a house, and if they say, no, I really don't have anybody, say, can I be that person? Now, in real estate, people know what real estate is. You don't have to describe to them what real estate is, what an investment property is, what buying and selling is. You don't have to describe it. They already know. But in network marketing, what I realized is if I did that same contact, do me a favor, I want to share with you what I'm doing outside of my full-time business. This is something Brandy and I just started working on. I wanted to share it with you. So if you happen to run across the right person, you could refer them over to us. I found people didn't know exactly what we were doing. Even if I told them it's the name of the company, even if I told them the name of the product, even if they didn't know, so I had to educate them. I didn't have to sell them. I didn't have to close them. I just have to present. Now, what I found is anybody can present. You don't have to be excited to present. What do I mean by that? If the building's on fire, do I have to be excited to get you out? No. Hey, guys, the building's on fire. We need to leave now. Now, if you came in screaming, the building's on fire, people will leave just as fast. It worked with every personality. This is Beth and I sort of had this conversation. I said, Beth, take this contact that I'm talking about, and run it against every scenario. Run it against 18-year-olds. Run it against 30-year-olds. Run it against 80-year-olds. Run it against somebody who is a doctor. Run it against somebody who has an amazing education in this business. Run it against somebody who has no education in this business. Just run it against every scenario you can think of and come up with an objection. Come up with where it won't work. And that's what I sat down and did, and I've done this for years. Probably I've been using this contact for almost a decade. And against every scenario, I don't get the objections everybody else does, but more importantly, I get more new people active. And isn't the name of the game getting a lot of people to do a little bit over a long enough period of time? Getting a lot of people to do a little bit over a long enough period of time. I found that the people I taught this to, even in the companies that I left, those people are still succeeding. What's even more important is this contact doesn't only work in network marketing, it works outside of network marketing. I have friends that use this for their full-time business, for their construction business, for their painting business. One of my friends did, I want to say he did like $360,000 last year in construction. He's like, Jeff, what you taught me, every single one of the steps you taught me is exactly what I use inside of my construction business. And he works about 4 days a week, part-time, 20 hours. He's a contractor. So I found it worked across the board, and it even worked in different languages. And I was like, it works in different languages, it works in different cultures. This just made sense. So this is how we take people through. Step one is, I want to present to 10 people as fast as possible for my new person. If they listen to me present 10 times, Jim would probably shake his head. Jim, if you heard me present 10 times, at the end of 10 times, you're like, I think I got this, right? Now, I did this for a friend of mine, Josh, for a whole year. And in one of our trainings, we kind of just jokingly asked, I said, Josh, I said, how many, I said that presentation so many times. I'm like, did you get it? He's like, Jeff, I'll be real honest, sometimes I lay down on my bed at night and I'm just about to go to sleep and I can actually hear you underneath my bed saying that presentation. I'm like, okay, that's too much. But you get the point. Is if somebody hears you say it 10 times, you pretty much got it. You're like, it's only a 5-10 minute thing and it's all written down. You're not looking for great presenters. You're just looking for people who can read something. Then the information transfers to the new person. At the end, I just say, hey, now that you know what's going on, now that you know what this is about, could you refer me to somebody, if you ran into them? Oh, yeah, I'd definitely do that. Do you have any interest beyond that in either the product or the opportunity? If they say yes, great, here's where the video applies. Great, here's where the rest of the information applies. And that's why we were getting people started so quickly, so easily. Because there's no objections and people are like, yeah, I do. How does that product work? When they start saying, well, what's in it? How does it work? Where was it manufactured? Who put it together? Because people ask that. What does it taste like? What color is it? I've had all those questions. Well, who labels it? I was like, I don't know. The last time you were at McDonald's, who labeled your French fries? Do you know exactly what's in your French fry? No. You just stuffed the whole Big Mac in your mouth? You don't even know where it came from, huh? Interesting. I've actually had people go, let me see that. What's in that? you know, and they're looking at my product and just like as they're munching on, you know, some fried, nasty, dead, overpriced greaseball food, they're looking at me going, well, I need to know exactly what's in this, just like you know what's in your, you know, McNugget fish sandwich. The exact ingredients. I'm joking, but I'm being really sarcastically honest at the same time. So that's part one, getting people started. Make a list of 10. Teach them what we're trying to do. Say these are the 3 results we want. We want either a referral. The second thing we want as a customer, the third best case scenario, totally best case scenario would be a recruit. And then people come in. And then we'll have to teach them. There's 3 different kinds of recruits that come in. Some recruits come in because they just want a discount on the product. Some recruits come in because they just want a backup plan just in case something goes wrong. And some recruits come in to make money. We just have to find out where they're at and move them to the next step. The second part is going to be, we just say, hey, there's a process, plug into this, and you want to plug in and do it for at least a year to understand it. Now, you want to plug in and do it for at least a year to understand it, so that way you can turn around and teach it. You watch me do it, you do it, and then you teach somebody else to do it. It'll probably take a year of watching for you to be confident enough to be able to turn around and do it. Once you're able to do it, you'll probably need to do it for a year before you understand the ins and outs of all of it to be able to significantly teach it to somebody else, and then you can transfer this over and over and over again. By the way, this entire process and this entire training and this entire teaching is already in a PDF. We've already put it together. It's called the MLM Quick Start Basics 10 Core Commitments. That's the second. The third, personal development. As you build your business, you want to develop to a higher level so that way you relate to more and more people. You not only relate to more and more people, but your leadership level goes up where you'll attract more people and be able to lead more people. If you're able to lead more people, you have more people follow you. And watch this. Doing the same exact activity produces greater results. Now, in the beginning, when you don't have that background, what you have to do is you have to make up in numbers what you lack in skill. So where I might be developed enough where I can go out and talk to 10 people and recruit 3 or 4 of them, somebody brand new might have to talk to 100 people to get those 3 or 4. Also, we may be talking to 2 different sets of people. What do I mean by that? Is if you make $8, $10 an hour, you're probably going to talk to people who make $8, $10 an hour. Why? Because you usually hang around people like yourself. Now, if you make $150,000 to $200,000 a year, you might know a lot of people who make 6 figures. Right? Now, let me ask you this. If one person goes out and talks to everybody who makes 6 figures and one person goes out and talks to everybody who makes $10 an hour, do you think you're going to have different results? Yeah. Depending on the process you use, have very different results. Personal development is key. I was taught these 3 things about personal development. Number 1, read every day. Number 2, listen or watch a video every single day. And number 3, you want to attend events so that way you can meet significant people who know what's going on and you can learn from multiple people with multiple backgrounds, with multiple personalities. Now, hopefully those multiple personalities exist between different people and they don't all exist in one person. And if you didn't get that, that was actually a psychology joke. That was horrible. But you understand. The 4th thing is market daily. You want to constantly be marketing daily. You constantly want to connect with new people. You want to connect with new people, and the easiest way possible is compliment them. Hey, I like the post that you put up. Hey, I like the band that you like. Hey, I like the cat video that you put up. Hey, I like the food that you put up. I found that there's some universal things. Music, movies, food, animals. Those are usually universal things. Vacations. There are some specific things that people aren't really all about. Some people aren't all about material things. You can put up every kind of car in the world, and they're just like, I'm not a car person. You can put up the nicest house in the world. They're just not a house person. The nicest TV, entertainment system, they're like, I don't even watch TV. So you have to kind of think not necessarily just what you like, but what other people like. You want to attract the greatest group of people? Constantly put up positive things that other people like that'll comment on. Put up a picture of the city and put up a picture of the country and say, which do you like best? Put up a picture of a salad and put up a picture of a steak and say, which do you like best? Now you can do this with anything. Truck and car, brick house and siding house, country house and beach house. Which do you like best? You'll start getting the most amazing interaction on your page. You could do it once a day. Just come up with something different. What do you like better, Coke or Pepsi? What do you like better, McDonald's or Chick-fil-A? What do you like better, Taco Bell or making tacos at home? Just by getting people to react, you can start marketing every single day to that group of people, and you start getting interaction with them. Here's what I would not suggest doing. Buy my product, buy my product, buy my product, buy my product, buy my product. I see people do this all the time. Join my team, join my team, join my team, join my team. You should join my team. You should join my team because my team's the best. My team has this and my team has that. My team, my team, my team. Most people are sitting at home going, delete, delete. I need to stop watching this person, you know, and move them away. They're just, it's annoying. It's kind of like the super bad commercial that just keeps coming up and you're like, can't I just mute this or delete this somehow, right? I know Jim's like, yes, please. So, the last thing on this list is present. And that's really what you want to get into a habit of doing. That's what you really want to start tracking. If you want to get better, you start tracking your personal growth. But if you want to get better at building the business, you start tracking what you're doing, the activity that builds the business. The activity that builds the business is what? Presenting to new people. The more times you present to new people, the better you'll get, the more money you'll make, the better your business gets. So, 2 days solid working out. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn this over to Beth to get some of her thoughts and insights on this recap of the 5, and then I've got a couple more things, and then we'll open up the call. Hold on one second. I will unmute.
Okie doke. Thanks, Jeff. It's so good to hear these again, and it gets a deeper layer each time we do. So I want to piggyback off a couple things. Mindset that you talked about in the beginning, it is quite a paradigm shift. I was coaching one network marketer, and I said, what's the toughest thing that your team is facing? And she said it's shifting their paradigm, you know, to working for someone else, to working for themselves, and to shift their paradigm actually about money. Because many of them have sort of a ceiling in their mind, like I've only made $4,000 a month before, so that's all I can make. That's all they see themselves. So it's shifting that paradigm. I'm going to give a few tips about that in a little bit. Another fact about working for ourselves, 100 years ago, 90% of people worked for themselves on a farm. So things have shifted to get us to become like worker bees and followers and not think for ourselves. I was raised on a farm. My father was a farmer and near here in Kansas. So I like to think for myself. I was not very good at working for other people. I got bored. I didn't have the freedom to use my talents and abilities. But just think, 100 years ago, this is a new development of people working for somebody else rather than be that self-responsible people. So I love that network marketing is helping us to get back to that. That is imperative to have any kind of life and freedom, not just to plug in, be mindless, you know, plug into a job and come home and then be mindless again in front of the TV. That's not a life. Network marketing lets us become creative beings that we are meant to be, and also help other people to do that with their product or service and their business. Market daily. Today, with Jeff's suggestion to let people know about our classes, I went and commented on 50 comments on a network marketing group. You wouldn't necessarily go there for yours. You could go to a Facebook group of the comment that has an interest of the people that you want on your team. In other words, people that are losing weight, maybe they have a support group, or they love organics, or parents. Who would you like on your team? Who would you like for customers and recruits? So maybe it's one of my coaching clients was a corporate mom who then quit, built her network marketing business, and she was single mom, able to build her business, quit her corporate job, and become one of the top earners in her network marketing company. She loves to go back to Facebook groups where there are corporate moms who support each other in there and post about how she and her son are going RV and traveling all over the country. And they go, wow, how do you do that? You know, they're so jealous. And she can post pictures as they go and say this is so fun. And she can homeschool her son on the way, and she can do her business from anywhere. And it's like the dream. So she gets them jealous. But you go to your Facebook groups where you that contain your target market, I call it, or the people, your avatar, people that you would like on your team and as your customers. And what I did today was I commented on 50 people, and I didn't even know much about them. I just said, like, welcome to the group, or that's interesting, or what's that about, or never heard about that before. So I was taking some coaching tips from Jeff on that. And out of that 50 people, what did that take me? Maybe an hour to do some the quality connections and thoughts, the best that I could from what I could know about the people. And I was kind of surprised that 22 of them messaged back right away within minutes. And about all 22, about 11 of them both liked my comment and gave another comment. The other 11 just liked, and they didn't leave a comment. But it's those 11 that I want to follow up with. And so I went back just right before this class, and I was commenting on their comment and take it a step further. Now I began to see the people, because when they just posted, it was kind of a, no personality post. But then when they responded back, I could see a little personality, and then I could have something to play off of. So you just ask the people, whatever you see there, whatever you can tell about them, or you can even actually go look at their profile if you want to take a little more time, and you can say, oh man, I'm from Kansas too. You're from Kansas too? Or, oh, you have a dog too. I do too. So that's where you can find a common ground to reflect back on, or at least you can say, some people, I said, well, that's interesting about your company. I haven't heard about that before. And they come back and they say, well, would you like more information? And I said to them, well, I'm a generic coach for network marketers, so I'm not looking at that company, but I do like to know what's out there. So they like to share about what they're doing. But some of them are just happy as heck that you liked their post. One guy, he was begging for people. He said, oh, somebody out there, just give me lots, I want lots of likes. I was the only person who liked it, but he was like, give me lots of likes here. Somebody let me know you're out there. People get complimented as heck, and they're grateful as heck just if you respond to something they put out. So out of those 11 people that I'm following up, or continuing the comments, and in my case, I will eventually let them know about the classes that Jeff and I are teaching, starting with the lunchtime show, that free leadership show. That as a network marketer, I could be in a group where some people want to lose weight and start a conversation with someone, asking them the right questions, like, how's that going for you, and did you run across any tough places, and where are you successful, where are you stuck? And if you find a story that you can send to them, like gosh, this person got stuck at the same point and they made it, so you can give them a little hope or encouragement. Again, not quite talking with them about your product, but eventually you will know them well enough to where you could lead them to your product. That's where you take it, of course, to a private conversation on Facebook Messenger. So it's really fun. I do enjoy connecting with people, and that's just something from today that I thought I could share in about the market daily, reaching out to people. You can lead them to the favor script. They might say, well, what do you do? Especially if you ask somebody, what do you do? They normally, most of the time, ask you back, well, what do you do? Well, actually, I'd love to share this with you in case you run across the right person, because I'm looking for referrals. So that takes it off of them. It's not going to be a direct thing. Maybe you would like this, but the indirect way, well, actually, I'd love to share with you what I do. Do you have 5 or 10 minutes? I'd love to just chat and learn more about what you do, too. And especially if it's a business person, then you could do it both ways. You could say, well, can we learn about what we share with each other, what we do, in case we might be able to refer to each other. So, and now I'd like to play off of the personal development side and the mindset, which also goes back to getting started right. I would like to suggest that you get yourself started right. First of all, in our MLM Millionaire Club site, there is a training library of success tools, and y'all got a way to log into that when you, or set up your login when you join this class. And if you haven't yet or run into a block, just let me know and I'll help you to get set up with that. But under the success tools, under the training library, let me make sure what, just want to give you the correct words here. In the tab, it says, it's under Success Tools, and under that is the Training Library. Near the top is a form that Jeff developed called the Agent Profile. I think it's good, and it's good to also use for yourself. This is how you get to know a new recruit so that you can relate to them, what personality type they are, what are their whys, what are their interests, and what are their strengths and weaknesses. So I want to suggest that, first of all, our number one core commitment is getting started right, to get yourself started right. And that includes, what do you like, what do you dislike? What job did you like the best? And what job did you dislike the most? What do you like to do when you're not at work? And how often? What would you do if time and money were not an issue? And, I'll just read this real quick because you can find that in the, I'll post it in the MLM Millionaire Club group so you can find it easy. I'll post this agent profile. So you can just know yourself and ask yourself, what do I like to do most? What would I do if time and money were not an issue? What are my 3 greatest strengths? What things do I need to improve on? What motivates me? Where would you like to be in 5 years? And what's the most important thing in your life right now? Some things come up to you as I read those to you. As a coach, I like to ask network marketers when we do private coaching, I like to ask them, if I could wave a realistic magic wand, where would you like your life and your business to be a year from now? But 5 years is also good too. Then ask yourself, what would that do for you? Well, it would give me time, more time for my family, more opportunities, more things I could do with them. And what would the best part of that be? You're giving your kids an opportunity maybe to travel. What would the best part be? To know that I did parenting the best way that I could. And why is that the best part? That's the last question. That really gets to your why. Why is that the best part? For many people, it comes down to fulfillment and doing the best for their families, but also for other people. Because once their families are taken care of, most people that I have coached want to then have help a cause in the world, contribute something in the world. When they're okay and the family's okay, then they go to the world. Because what do they want to leave this life, knowing that how they change the world? So whatever that is for you, the realistic magic wand, where would you like to be in a year or 5 years? What would that do for you? What's the best part of that? And why is that the best part? The second question then that I ask people that I coach is, now what stands in your way or slows you down or even stops you from getting all this? And most people say, me. And when we ask more about what that is, we delve a little further. Usually, it is the skills or the mindset. But usually, it's the mindset of fear rather than confidence. Now, fear, a lot of that can be helped by learning the skills. Then you get the confidence. And Jeff just covered beautifully, so simply, everything that you really need to know for the basic skills and how to train your people. So there goes a lot of the fear. And the fear of approaching people is now you know what to do, and it's easy and it's duplicatable. And people are not going to run from you because it's just about education, like you said, or asking them a favor for a referral. So it's indirect. Doesn't get objection, so there goes that fear. So it's just beautiful what he has developed. But some people still have negative beliefs about themselves, like, I can't do this, I'm not a salesperson, I don't deserve success. And some of it's about money. I would just like to share with you a few things that I've gotten from Tony Robbins about money. He says if you don't have an abundance right now, if you're just getting by, if you are just thinking of survival and not thriving and not having a way over abundance in your life, then you are associating more negativity with that abundance than positivity. So when I say the word money, what comes to mind to you? You might just want to write that down. Is it positive? Is it scary? Because I don't know how to handle it? Does it bring security? Is it something you've always had or something you've never had? That security, that ease. So you just write down the words that you associate with money. Some people it's freedom, some people it's hard work, and some people it's like, oh, that's a lot of responsibility. I have to learn how to manage it, or learn about taxes, or something like that. If I have more money, I have to pay more taxes. But some people associate it with pleasure. So just see what it is for you. For a lot of people, they heard negative things growing up, like if you're rich, you're greedy, nobody's going to like you, because maybe your family had a prejudice against rich people because they weren't rich, or they were jealous, so they turned that into bad-mouthing money. And you could have absorbed that when you were a kid growing up. It could be sabotaging you right now from making more than you are, more than we are. No matter where we are, we're at our ceiling, right? So I've always had plenty of money in my life, but I know that I'm at a ceiling. I'm up against the ceiling of my next level. And so is Tony Robbins. He thought he was doing pretty good, and he made $30,000 a year, at one point. Then he had a son that catapulted him into a greater why. On that year, he went from, I think, 38,000 to $1 million. And then he wanted to, pass through his next level, and he had a goal to feed the hungry people in the world. And that catapulted him from $1 million a year to 10 a year, or something like that. So to associate what you're going to do with the money with pleasure, you can write down the things that you want to do and that this would give you, or that you want to do for the world. That's how to train your brain to associate more pleasure with money than the negatives. So won't go into this real deep right now, but make your lists of the negative associations you have with money, and then bust those myths. If I make more money, I'm going to have to work real hard. It seems like if you want to make 10 times, some people believe if you want to make 10 times what you do now, you're going to have to work 10 times harder than you do now, and that'd kill you. So, that's not worth it. So there are ways to work smarter and ways to invest money, so that's not necessarily true. So just look at the myths that you carry around, and or the negative phrases that you carry around, and let yourself bust that. Like, money is the root of all evil. Did you know that the original phrase was the love of money or the attachment to money is the root of all evil? Or you can say, yeah, in the wrong hands it would be the root of all evil, but actually money is a neutral thing. Money is not evil. It just magnifies whatever we are. So if we're generous people, we can afford to be more generous. If we're nasty people, we can afford to be more nasty. Money is neutral. It in itself is not bad. It is not the root of all evil. It's not going to turn us into greedy hoarders who use other people. I know so many top earners in network marketing who build schools in Africa. My friend David Frey help people to start businesses like Jordan Adler. They have contributions. They're just tremendously generous. So you can do a lot of good with it. Remember, money's neutral. It's what you do with it. And what kind of life do you want to have? So these are good questions to just check out the mindset. And I'll turn it back over to you, Jeff.
Okay, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fantastic. So the main goal here is get started doing something. I mean, 2019, here's the thing that I've realized about networkers and network marketing is I've literally seen people who are less talented, have less going for them, have worse skills than every single person who's attending this training right now, and I've watched people go to six figures. And if you've been long enough, you will see some of these people, it happened for them too. And it simply is a belief that you will figure it out and get it done. Once you feel confident in doing the work, you basically can become unstoppable. It just starts happening. You start attracting. It becomes easy. And the reason it becomes easy is you take all the pressure off of the result and you put all the pressure on the activity. And that's the one thing that I can say about 2019 is that if you'll start actually tracking your activity and you're constantly moving forward in your activity, the right activity with the right people will always produce results, always. And if you're not getting the results you want, reach out, ask questions. We can help direct, refine, reorganize, whatever we need to do to get that on track. And then it's pretty simple that it will happen. And I've seen it happen in every single kind of company. I've seen it in weight loss, and I've seen it in telecommunications, and I've seen it in technology, and I've seen it in energy drinks, and I've seen it, inside of wellness, and I've seen it inside of clothing lines, and I've seen it inside of novelties, and I've seen it inside of cards and nails and candles and, just so many different kinds of companies. I've seen people succeed doing this, that there's absolutely no reason it can't work for anybody on this call in 2019. But it really boils down to, A, do you want to do the work? And B, are you willing to track it? Because what I found is until you're willing to sit down and track some of this, you're really not treating it as a professional would. And if you want professional results, you have to do professional activities. That's just, it just totally made sense to me. When a guy finally broke that down to me, he's like, look, everything in the professional world gets tracked and everything in the amateur world doesn't. Like, you're not tracking your practices if you're a once in a while softball player. You don't care. You show up, you drink a beer, you go out for hot dogs afterwards. It's not something, it's just for fun. And a lot of people treat their network marketing business that way. It's kind of like it's the weekend thing to do because it's their social club. And that's fine if that's all you want out of it. But as soon as you want it as a business, you start tracking. You go to the hitting, the hitting cage, the cage, and you spend an hour and you start tracking, hey, I went through 100 balls. I was able to hit 36 of them. I want to get to the point where I hit 70%. If I can hit 70%, if I swing 3 times and I hit 2, those are the guys that end up making, really, that would be amazing. You'd probably be the top baseball player in the world if that was the case. What is it, like 30% hit, and you can be, you know, one of the top people in the sport, at least baseball. Softball, I don't know, you know, what the numbers are, but I know there's professional softball leagues, there's professional golf leagues, there's professional badminton, there's professional table tennis, there's professional beer pong, guys. Right? There's people who make six figures playing beer pong. And if people can make six figures playing beer pong and shuffleboard and curling and every other sport in the world, you can certainly make six figures inside of this industry, especially if you're with a good company, a good solid company that has financial backing, if you have a good product that actually does what it says it's going to do and it works, and then you have a compensation plan that pays out. If they pay you the check and it comes on time, then it's nothing more than working the business and building it. Now, you might have to understand some things about the comp plan. You might have to understand some things about structuring. You know, you can get all those answers if you're willing to go out and do the work. And watch this. As soon as you start bringing in people, somebody will find you. Somebody will on your upline will come and find you. I've had that happen where all of a sudden you put in 10 people real fast. Your upline will find you. They look at the report and they're like, who in the world is this guy in Colorado, or who in the world is this person in Canada who just put in 10 people? I need to figure out who they are, and you'll get those calls, and they will start asking you questions and helping you figure this out. So with that, what I want to do is we're going to go ahead and open up the lines here and see if anybody has any questions, recap, you know, what you're learning, what is your kind of your overall goal for the year would be a good one to also ask. So give me a second. What I want to do at this point is anybody who's watching this at home, meaning after the fact, watching the recording, you know, we appreciate you for being on here. Obviously, next week we're going to start out with core commitment number 6 or lesson number 6, which is, you know, attend a weekly open house or attend a weekly briefing. They're called briefings. They're called open houses. They're called opportunity meetings. They're called a lot of different things. We just call them an open house because it's an open opportunity for you to be able to share with your business. You want to attend one of those every single week so that way you can get better at your own presentation and learn the ins and outs of how to do that and what's important. And we're going to talk about not only attending them, we're going to talk about how to get more people to them. Because if you can get more people to those type of events, your business will absolutely, positively explode. So what I want to do is I'm actually going to turn off the recording now, and we're going to just talk kind of in an open manner so that way nobody's like, oh, my God, I don't want to talk right now because I'm going to be out recording. Don't want that stuff to show up later. So give me 1 second.